All right, so we just finished watching this wonderful explainer video from Alex. But one word of warning, most open source projects do not come equipped with a nice explainer video with animations and visuals that walks you through the project. So what do you do in that case? How are you going to begin to understand the purpose of this project when you first begin working on it, when it's brand new to you? So it turns out that the AI can be a fantastic learning partner in this situation. And in particular, we're going to prompt the AI to use the Socratic method while assuming the role of these two personas here. So we're going to define our first persona is the end user. So the AI is going to pretend to be the end user of Nexus Mods, and it'll have a conversation with us. And we're also defining the second role here as the mentor. So if we ever get stuck, if we don't know what to say in this conversation, we can ask Maya, the mentor, for help. So Alex is the end user, Maya is the mentor. So I'll just highlight a couple of rules in this script. So the AI is going to prompt you with questions. That's what we mean by the Socratic method. It's not going to give you the answer. It's going to probe you with questions, and it'll go back and forth with you until you understand. It'll challenge you to not use jargon. If you use too much technical jargon, it'll ask you to re-explain it. And let's see. I'll show you the end condition here. This conversation will end when the AI is convinced that you understand what the project is about, in which case it'll give you this message. Good, I understand why this project matters to me as an end user. At any point, you can ask Maya for help. Let me go ahead and show you how my conversation started. So I copy-pasted the prompt over here into Google Gemini. And by the way, you can use Gemini or you can use any other LLM of your choice. And I'll show you the first couple of back and forth interactions that I had with the AI. So Alex, the end user, asks me, all right, tell me in plain language, what problem does the Nexus Mods app solve for me in my day-to-day modding? Nexus Mods, this is my answer. Alex complained that it's too vague. I was stuck, so I asked Maya, the mentor, for help. I said, Maya, give me a hint. Maya gave me a hint. So at this point, I will encourage you to pause the video and treat this as an activity. So copy-paste that prompt. You can find the full text of the prompt in the links below the video. And copy-paste it into your LLM, Gemini, ChatGPT, or whatever you're using. And then keep going with the AI until it confirms that you do understand the purpose of the Nexus Mods project. Sometimes this can take a while. The AI can be a tough judge. So I would suggest to set a time box for a maximum of 10 minutes for this activity. If you're not done at that point, I would say go ahead and move on. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you the next step here. I'll show you the result of my conversation with the AI. So I went back and forth. I'm just going to scroll through this quickly. I go back and forth with the AI. It challenges me a couple of times because I'm using too much technical jargon. And then finally it confirms, good, I understand why the project matters to me as an end user. By the way, sometimes I will say I think the AI is a little bit too strict about the technical jargon. It complains about words that, I don't know, probably shouldn't be penalized for jargon, but that's okay. Overall, it's directionally pushing you in the right direction. Okay, so I'll wrap up this activity with a couple of suggestions here. First of all, I would bookmark or save this prompt somewhere. It's a very useful prompt. If you're working on another project in the future, you can reuse the same prompt and just adapt the very beginning of it to point to your project instead of Nexus Mods. The other thing I'll point out here is an important principle that's going to guide us throughout this case study when it comes to using AI in a wise way. So the principle is you want to create more than you consume. With AI, it can be very tempting to fall into this pattern of being very passive, letting it do all the work for you, and you turn into this consumer. But we want to make sure that we are active in the process, and we want to make sure that we are creating, that we are actively creating in some way. Now, in the context of learning, as you're a learner, and you're also probably career oriented, you're trying to grow your mastery of your craft so that you can become a valuable software engineer. And so in that context, there's a very specific way of thinking about creating, which is this. The goal here, whenever you're using AI, you want to make sure that you are creating a new understanding of something. I like this quote from Cal Newport. The goal is to create a new conceptual structure that has value to yourself or to the world. And so I hope that you can see that in this last activity, this Socratic method activity, you are using the AI, but it is helping you to create a new conceptual structure about the project. So pay attention to this theme of creating versus consuming as we go through the case study. Whenever we use AI, we are going to try to make sure that we are creating more than we consume.